I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did what you did to me.
Down in 2 weekends.
In my opinion, this Shannon Sharpe nonsense is not only an assassination on the character of black men in black America, but it's just him paying the piper to make up for letting Cat Williams come sit on his platform and cast doom over everyone he works with and does business with.
Once hailed as one of the most charismatic voices in modern sports media, Shannon Sharpe's image is now facing a serious reckoning. His post-football career was built on unfiltered takes, viral interviews, and a larger-than-life personality that made him a household name far beyond the football field. But behind the bright lights and viral clips lies a darker chapter that's now being dragged into the public eye. As serious allegations surface and Jaguar Wright steps into the spotlight to hold him accountable, Sharpe is shifting from celebrated commentator to controversial figure. As more people begin asking questions, it's clear this isn't just about one man. It's about a system that protects power at all costs.
I only heard from him.
Tonight, Shannon Sharpe is on the offensive. He's vowing to sue his accuser and attorney, Tony Busby, for defamation, who is based right here in Houston. Now, after the allegations she made against him in that lawsuit we have all heard about, the promise came just minutes after the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, released a partial audio file to TMZ Sports that he claims shows Sharpe threatening his client, who is seeking $50 million in damages.
Shannon Sharpe built his post-NFL career on charisma, controversy, and conversation. From his time at FS1 to his rise as one of ESPN's most watched personalities, Sharpe seemed untouchable. But now, his name is trending for all the wrong reasons. A $50 million lawsuit has thrown his image into chaos. A woman identified as Jane Doe has accused him of threats and emotional during a nearly 2-year relationship. The sports world is shocked, but singer and outspoken industry critic Jaguar Wright says nobody should be surprised because she's seen this story unfold too many times before.
Tony Busby, of course, is representing a Jane Doe who alleges that Shannon Sharpe R-worder relationship, and that's where it starts.
Yeah.
When you read that, what is your take on just Tony Busby being involved with a Jane Doe coming after Shannon Sharpe, after what just happened with the case against Jay?
Well, see, the problem that I have with all of that is this. No one's being honest about the case with the 37 going on 38-year-old autistic female who was hunted down and stalked like an animal. There was an agreement made. Behind the scenes, no one's telling the truth about that. There were promises and assurances made. And then after everyone respectfully dropped what they had to drop, all of a sudden, private investigators are on her door. That dog didn't stop barking. Clear sign. Very, 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 very clear sign. Sorry, somebody keeps trying to call me. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. But why is nobody talking about that? She dropped the case, he dropped the case, and allegedly there was payment. Why did those private investigators still need to go to that young woman's door? You know, with Busby coming forward as the great champion against all of these evil elite, taking him down would be like the best thing in the world, wouldn't it? For them. If they can get him in one case where they can prove that it was a shakedown, that it was a this, that it was a that takes Busby out the Diddy game, don't it?
Sounds like it.
Just let's be honest. Because of the Jane Doe case that is mucked and mired with the autistic victim who never took back what she said. She just said it was too much pressure. See, that's what happened. But nobody wants to talk about that at all. That woman is autistic. What they put her through, she should be suing them for mental distress. It's ridiculous.
So, Tony Busby, he had reached out to a bunch of people to ask if anyone has a case against, of course, Diddy and a few other people. Please come to him for him to get this case. Again, with regarding Shannon Sharpe, do you feel like, because Shannon Sharpe said this is a witch hunt, a shakedown, is Busby? Do you feel like technically victims are going to go to him because he actually is going to go through with prosecute or the lawsuits versus just going to anyone with another name?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. This is one of my moderators. Something must be happening. I'm texting. Because it's about to get serious.
Wright isn't just offering her opinion. She's putting Shannon on blast, claiming that he's part of the same machine that's been protecting predators and silencing victims in both the music and sports industries. And according to her, Shannon isn't stepping away to handle legal matters. He's running, fleeing the spotlight in an attempt to dodge accountability. With Wright now digging deeper, she's making it clear that Sharpe's time under the radar might be over. The lawsuit filed in Nevada lays out a disturbing timeline. Jane Doe says she met Sharpe at a Los Angeles gym in 2023 when she was just 20 years old. Over the next 2 years, their relationship allegedly turned. She claims that Sharpe her in October 2024 and again in January 2025. Her legal team alleges that emotional and physical were part of an ongoing pattern. They also say she has audio recordings and digital messages that prove he threatened her if she ever went public.
Former athlete and media personality now, Shannon Sharpe, is attempting to clear his name after facing a lawsuit for allegedly raping a woman on multiple occasions. His response revealing the name of the accuser and some very X-rated text messages he says he received from her.
It's a big mess for Shannon Sharpe. Tony Busby is on this case, right? And
he's a Houston-based attorney.
Houston-based attorney.
Been here on The Factor several times.
Yes, and we've seen him file several lawsuits against the likes of P. Diddy, against Jay-Z, which was recently dismissed. And now here we go again against Shannon Sharpe. What sticks out to me, however, is the context of the allegations are different from what you would see on some of these other cases like Diddy, right? Or Cosby, who was putting in date drugs in several victims' drinks. In this case, she's saying this is a consensual relationship. We had a lot of consensual and on these 2 or 3 separate occasions, it just so happens that it wasn't consensual. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a thing and that these situations still happen within the context of consensual relationships, but I do think it's going to be a lot difficult to prove it because it begs the question, if it happened one time in October of 2024, how did it then happen again in January of 2024? If it happened at your apartment, as she's alleging, who did you tell? Did you speak to the apartment landowners? Did you call 911? Did you go to the hospital? So there's a concern about provability. And then to add another layer of what might impugn her credibility are the supposed text messages that Shannon Sharpe has. These text messages suggest that she was more of the one initiating these encounters.
The aggressor, well, not aggressor as in crime, but
right.
In the relationship.
Yes, initiating the encounter, and that in some cases was even soliciting, saying in exchange for cash, $25,000 per cheek. If that is proven to be coming from her, it's really going to undermine the credibility of her allegations. So that being said, even if this is not a case that Tony Busby can prove, by the preponderance of the evidence. I am concerned about the hit that it has on Shannon Sharpe as a public figure, because let's say this goes to trial, then there's going to be a lot of public scrutiny of Shannon Sharpe's life at age 56 with that of a 19, 20-year-old. It's just not a good look for someone who's employed by Disney.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
Sharpe, now 56, has responded through his lawyer, calling the lawsuit a blatant and cynical attempt to shake him down. He maintains that the relationship was consensual and has denied any wrongdoing, but the damage was already done. ESPN suspended Sharpe from his role on First Take. His statement that he'll return by the NFL preseason sounds more like wishful thinking than a reality, especially with a lawsuit of this magnitude hanging over his head. Jaguar Wright wasted no time in reacting, known for pulling no punches when it comes to calling out celebrities and alleged in the industry. She went directly for the throat. In her view, Shannon Sharpe didn't step away to focus on his family. He disappeared to avoid the fallout. Wright has a long history of exposing the inner workings of celebrity culture, including her infamous rants about Diddy, Jay-Z, and what she calls a system of protection around and entertainment. So when news broke about Shannon, she immediately saw familiar patterns
amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died of an imaginary aneurysm, just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling and died as soon as it made the bestsellers list. Who the was these people supposed to go to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is you. And the boss's boss don't get no. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case. Where the you go when you get over by the industry? Nowhere. That's where you go nowhere, which is where people like me step in. You right, I go to Diddy parties. To walk out 'Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come.
Wright pointed to how often these cases follow the same trajectory. A powerful man is accused, the victim is dismissed, and then the accused vanishes from the public eye until the media moves on. She warned that Sharpe's absence was too conveniently timed, and that if people keep brushing off these accusations, the system will continue to eat up victims and protect perpetrators. Just before the scandal broke, Shannon was bragging about his biggest payday to date. Interview with Cat Williams on his podcast, Club Shay Shay. He claimed the interview brought in more money than any single season he played in the NFL. With 89 million views and a multi-million-dollar check, Sharpe was riding a wave of media dominance. He even bought himself a Rolex Daytona John Mayer edition, showing it off while joking that, "My pockets are a wonderland."
When people watch, when they turn on and they listen and they watch or they listen to Club Shay Shay, they want to hear my guest voice. So my job is to get out of the way. P-Mac, I had to make a split-second decision because when he came on, he was already on one. If you remember, he was doing this. So I already knew because he were talking, and I was like, okay, let's get him mic'd up.
How long you talked to him before?
We talked, he got there early, so that's why I lost track of time. Because normally when they said, okay, we're going at noon, okay, I get there around 11:30. CJ and I, who is the producer, any last minute, things, and I'll go and I'll say, CJ, I think I want to start here, and I want to go in this direction. He's like, okay, hey, I trust you, do what you do. And so he gets there early, and so he's talking, and I said, okay, let's get him mic'd up. So we go 15, 20 minutes before the noon hour. So I'm thinking in my mind, damn, we started at noon. But I forgot that we started 20 minutes early. And so once he gets going, so I'm like, okay. He says, so I give my introduction, welcome to Club Shay Shay, blah, blah, blah. I tell you who he is, some of the things that he's done. And so how you doing, Cat? We toast. And now I'm about to ask my first question, and he says, I want to tell you why I came. Okay, tell me why you came. He goes 30 minutes before I'd ask a question. Now, I could have easily cut him off.
And Laportier.
Yeah, I could have easily cut him off, P-Mac. But if I'd have cut him off, maybe he loses his train of thought. Maybe he doesn't get to what he got to. He goes 30. Okay, now it's my time to get in here. Okay, where you from? But a lot of the stuff he was saying, because I don't live in that world. People think because, oh, Shannon, you live in Hollywood, you must have heard, you must have been known.
But Jaguar Wright says that public image was just smoke and mirrors. She suggests that Sharpe's wealth, media presence, and popularity were being used to mask deeper issues, including how people in power often buy their way out of scrutiny. She claims that these big interviews and viral moments help distract the public while serious allegations get swept under the rug. And when the lawsuit hit, instead of addressing it head-on, Sharpe suddenly went radio silent. Wright says Sharpe's situation is part of the same toxic culture that shielded other men like Diddy for decades. She's been vocal about what she calls the Predator Protection Network, a group of elite handlers, executives, and enablers who keep in positions of power as long as they stay loyal to the system. In her eyes, Sharpe's fame and clean-cut TV image were exactly what made him so marketable, even if, behind the scenes, he was allegedly involved in something much darker.
He gave this dude a lot of money because he was collecting money from the same gang dudes to make sure Puff could pay his rent, pay his car note, and survive until he got with the guys, Corey, Wolf, and L. That was a crew called. You know what I'm saying? He got with them. They gave parties, bro.
Yeah, I'm just, bro. I'm not tripping on. We have some crazy names back here. Like there'd be like in Dallas, it'd be like Smash Head and Pumpkin Boy. The names that like old school or OGs used to have back in the day just always trip.
And they logo, a booty ain't a booty unless it's
Amen.
All right?
Nah, for real.
So now, he got money, gave Puff and everything like that. He went up and asked Puff for lazy money like that. Now, I could have just gave him that money I had in my pocket, because Puff had completely all about it, forgot all about it. Never asked me the 2 weeks he was back in town and nothing like that, because I only had Puff on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When I get off work on Friday, you understand, they'll call me, yo, Gene, you got Puff? Yeah, I got him. You understand? Saturdays and Sundays, I have them all day. You understand? Those was my days. So now, D asked him for the money. Puff say, I don't think I could do it. So D left out the office. I said, D, wait here for me outside. I said, you ain't gonna give D that money, dog? He was like, nah. He said, Gene, I can't do it. I can't do it right now. I said, well, here go your 10,000 that you get. He said, 10,000? I said, yeah, you gave it to me 2 weeks ago. Here, gave it to him. He said, you tell D about that? I said, no, that ain't none of his business.
Wait, Puff was I don't want to say broke, but struggling artist.
This is when he became, he was on now.
Okay.
This is some time after. This was after the city college. See, I gave you the time when after the city college, he lost his job. Nobody was effing with him the whole 9 yards. Then he went to that whole period where the dudes from Wolf, L, and Corey gave him the money to start up Bad Boy so he could keep Big, Craig Mack, and everything. Then he gets the deal from Clyde Davis. You understand? Now they put out Flavor in Your Ear. Do the Big Mac commercial, that Big Mac campaign, when he put Craig Mack and Big into that box, in that Big Mac box, that a kid from his label, Mel Love, he thought of that. Puff ran with the whole campaign and the whole 9 yards. Huh? It's a check. There's a check. So now he's on. He's Puff. You know what I'm saying? So he's on. D Ferg went to him and said, yo, my man, I need to do this, He said, nah. Out of all the he had done for him, he only gave D $1,500 for that design and promised that he was gonna look out and take care of him. You understand what I'm saying? Came up to Puff and he was like, yo, Puff, I know I can make it. I can go to the next level. We was in the group. Yo, I know I can go to the next level, Puff. How do I go to the next level, Puff?
He was so excited.
He was excited to see it,
He was so excited.
And Puff said, take that goddamn
turban off.
That turban off there. Yo,
so much for that moment.
Time I lost my composure as I'm doing security like this. I died. Because the kid was so excited, he just wanted some stuff from, Puff. Yo.
According to Jaguar, the industry is long overdue for a reckoning. She believes the sports world is no different from the music industry, where image is king and truth is buried. She also criticized the rush to defend Sharpe before the public even saw the evidence. For Wright, this kind of blind support for powerful men is what allows to continue unchecked, especially when the victims are young, female, and without the platforms to speak up. Since the lawsuit was filed, Sharpe has not made any significant public appearances. He posted a brief message saying he plans to return to ESPN by the start of preseason, but many are questioning whether that's even realistic. Wright insists that this isn't a vacation. It's a strategic retreat. She says people in his position often lay low just long enough for public attention to die down, then reemerge as if nothing happened.
You are not going to convince me that a 19-year-old OnlyFans model, I don't care if she's black, white, brown, yellow, or red, you are not going to convince me that if you offer a 19-year-old OnlyFans model who sells videos of her body for cash apps on the regular, she sells videos and pictures of her body on the internet for cash apps, and she gets offered $10 million to walk away when she only asks for 50 grand. Think about this, Art. She only asks for 50 grand. Shannon Sharpe says, I'm gonna give you 10 million to walk away. And she says no. Art, do you know of anybody on OnlyFans, do you know of any 19-year-old teenager who, if offered 10 million to shut up and go away, when they only wanted 50 grand, do you know of any 19-year-old girl who is not gonna take the 10 million?
Anybody taking 10 million?
Thank you. You on OnlyFans. You making money by selling your body, so you clearly not doing too well in these streets. You get offered 10 million and you turn it down? I believe the NFL power structure, or maybe the white media power structure, or maybe the white podcast power structure. Somebody was jealous of Shannon Sharpe's upcoming $100 million contract. Somebody was jealous of Shannon Sharpe's upcoming $100 million contract, and they intervened at the level of Tony Busby, or they intervened at the level of Gabriella Azul-Nix. One or the other. Because ain't no 19-year-old OnlyFans model turning down no 10K. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe embarrassed. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe humiliated. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe's financial future destroyed.
But with Wright shining a spotlight on him, that won't be so easy. She's made it her mission to hold not just Sharpe, but the entire culture accountable. If Sharpe thinks he can sit this out in silence, Jaguar is making sure that the public keeps asking questions and keeps demanding answers.
Shannon Sharpe and the video of Shannon and his accuser that you won't be seeing, not yet anyway, according to the accuser's attorney, Tony Buzbee. Now, Tony Buzbee says this video, which Shannon Sharpe has described as a tape, will not be coming out. He is acknowledging, Tony Buzbee, that it exists and says that we discussed this in mediation with Shannon Sharpe. He did not want to see the video. We didn't show it to him, but he knows it exists. But Tony Buzbee says this is key evidence in our case against Mr. Sharpe, so it will not be coming out. He will not be leaking this.
And saying basically it's going to come out during the trial.
Right.
If there's a trial.
If there's a trial, it will come out, which to me sounds like he's still dangling it over Shannon's head to say, we can meet, we can settle this, or we can go forward into a trial, and then the video is going to come out. Now, Shannon has described the video much differently from what his accuser is saying. This is what he said when he actually challenged Buzbee to release it.
Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media.
What's interesting is Tony and his client have never made any sort of mention to this video. Shannon Sharpe and his attorney and his attorney's team are the only ones who have talked about this. So Tony actually made reference in this to that fact when we talked to him last night about all this. He said Sharpe's team is the only ones that disclosed that, not us. So I don't really know what to make of that. If Sharpe's team is the only one speaking about this video and Buzbee isn't.
I think what you can glean from it is that this was a centerpiece of the negotiation before the lawsuit was filed.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the one thing that's clear, right?
Yes, for sure. And it still remains at the center because it certainly sounds like, regardless of how Shannon describes it or the accuser describes it, for Shannon Sharpe and his career, it's probably not advantageous for it to come out.
Right.
What's happening to Shannon Sharpe isn't just a scandal. It's a test of whether or not celebrity status still shields people from consequences. A test of whether the media will report facts or protect familiar faces. And a test of how far people like Jaguar Wright will go to expose the truth, even when it means going up against some of the most powerful names in entertainment and sports.
TMZ has reported that Shannon Sharpe's lawyer did reveal that he did try to give this Jane Doe, and we're not saying her name even though they've said her name.
Yes.
At least $10 million during mediations that occurred within the last month or so.
And I will say she is stupid.
So she appeared to be thinking about it and then suddenly, without warning, walked away from the offer. He said it was a big surprise to us when suddenly this case was filed without any advance warning. So she was offered to pay out. Now, how does that look on Shannon Sharpe's behalf? Because I know when this originally broke, people were like, he's innocent, she's trying to get money, she's this, she's that. She got offered $10 million. They confirmed that.
Yeah.
And you can look at it two ways. Is it $10 million because he knows that more is coming and he's in the wrong? Or is it $10 million because you don't want somebody to file anything at all and you want it to just go away?
I think it's $10 million because he knows that they did some crazy stuff.
Right.
Whether it was consensual or not. But I think
good.
he knows that she's able to spin it the way she's spinning
And
it.
then I think the narrative is also about how young she is and how young she looks.
Yeah, she looks very young.
You know, she was 19 at the time and he was 54.
Yeah, that $10 million was a cover up, but also
So while that's legal, it's also, ooh, what are you doing?
it doesn't look good on him.
And
But
so
she
I'm
should have
sure
took
he
the $10
wouldn't
million.
I'm sure he wouldn't want people to have known about that, and
Exactly.
now everyone knows because he's also in the middle of negotiating this huge contract.
Yeah.
They're saying $100 million, and he's on ESPN, and so we'll see what's going to end up happening. She's also releasing phone calls and
She's
things that are
letting all the
recorded.
tea
There
out.
is supposedly a videotape that could potentially come out, and Shannon Sharpe tried to prepare us for that tape getting released. He also did put out this video of himself denying these allegations and saying that he plans to sue her for defamation.
This is a shakedown. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down.
So wait, are we getting a 10-minute little spicy tape?
Maybe. And Tony Busby said on social media, on the one hand, Mr. Sharpe and his lawyers claim the case filed by Jane Doe is meritless. Yet on the other hand, they now have disclosed that Mr. Sharpe offered Jane Doe $10 million in writing not to file her lawsuit.
I mean, speaking of Shannon Sharpe, since we brought it up, I'm just saying, I am not happy this brother is going through what he's going through. But I hope the brother realized that he has a disorder. But what is his disorder? What do you think is wrong with Shannon Sharpe, Craig?
You want me to say it for real?
Look, please don't hold back.
Sprungness.
What do you think is wrong with the brother?
I think Shannon Sharpe is immature.
Oh, good. There you go.
I think he's immature. I think athletes, specifically athletes who were as good as him and have been successful as long as him, have a delusion about life where they think life is what life should reflect anything that doesn't with their ego. So like they, some only accept truth to a certain level because it's too uncomfortable. Certain people want you to be in a certain pocket. He just used to everybody catering to him. Like even the fact that we can't crack jokes on him unless he views us. Like if we was NFL cats cracking jokes on Shannon, it wouldn't be no problem. We wouldn't be hating. But since socially we would be viewed as beneath him economically, we can't even crack jokes and do what we do for a career without, people on that level getting sensitive or thinking we haters. So I just think he's shielded by his success, and it makes him weak, in my opinion.
Whether or not the lawsuit against Sharpe leads to criminal charges, the court of public opinion is watching closely. And with people like Jaguar Wright refusing to back down, the pressure won't ease up anytime soon. Shannon Sharpe may have been the voice of sports media just months ago, but now that voice has gone quiet. As Jaguar Wright keeps turning up the volume, it's clear that this story is still unfolding. The accusations, the lawsuit, the leaked evidence, they're not going away. One thing is certain, Jaguar Wright isn't backing down. She says it's time to stop protecting people just because they're famous and to start believing the voices that have been ignored for too long. Whether the industry likes it or not, the reckoning is here, and Shannon Sharpe is just the latest to be caught in the storm. Will he return, or will he become yet another figure who vanishes under the weight of his own secrets? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, fam, keep it real.